Hi, Sheena. Thank you so much for joining us for this last call before we close the doors of the Money EQ Mastery.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, so you have been a success advisor through all this journey and have been there with us for us. Tell me a bit about yourself, what you do, and what is the whole picture, more than the success advisor that you are here.
Yeah. Well, I work with Bob Proctor as one of his consultants, and so I teach people thinking into results. When I say teach people, it's more like, isn't it? You take people on a journey through life-changing stuff. I mean, it is just unbelievable. Just even last night, Nadine, just let me tell you, because it's right formed in my mind, is that one girl, she hasn't been able to sleep for so long. She joined the program at the weekend. She had her first best night's sleep last night. That was the first time she'd slept right through. It's stuff like that that literally absolutely drives me forward. I mean, it wasn't always this way. So I don't know if you want me to tell you a little bit about my story, about how I got here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, I worked in corporate. I did the thing that you work in corporate and then you decide to be an entrepreneur and then you get some success, and then where did it all go? Absolutely lost everything. So I'd done all the qualifications. So I'm a master in business, coaching, NLP, Reiki, hypnotherapy. I mean, you name it. About 1,000 books, and I just worked harder and harder, but my results were going that way. Absolutely that way. And I just didn't know what had happened, but not luckily, because it's always a coincidence, isn't it? Well, they're never coincidences. I met Karen, this girl, at a networking event, and she says, "Oh, let me talk to you about Bob Proctor's work." And I went, no, I know it all. I know it all. I know all that. I know all Bob Proctor's stuff. And I'm going on like this and everything. She said, yeah, I know. So eventually, would you believe, she wore me down, and I'm so blessed that she wore me down. That's what I always say to people. I do not apologize for keeping on, because thank goodness she did for me. Because then one day she turned around to me and she says, "Sheena, you clearly don't know it all because you haven't looked at your results." Yeah. And I went, touche. Because I literally had lost everything, the house, car, everything. And I ended up living somewhere that I'd never wanted to live. And that literally, it was just my wake-up call, an absolute wake-up call. And then now that I've been doing the work with Bob Proctor, would you believe, Nadine, and I can't even believe it, I didn't even notice it myself. Because you see, here's the thing, everybody's looking for a quantum leap going forward. But if it's a quantum leap, you're not ready for it. It's like being at the beginning of the marathon, wanting to take the last step. The first step is the hardest, isn't it? The last step is the easiest. That's the thing. And it's just like, so the first step is the hardest, not the last step. And I'd drawn out my C-type goals. So my vision of what I wanted my life to look like and where I was. And would you believe that I have been in it for like nearly 6 months before I realized I was in it? I looked at a drawing that I'd done right at the beginning of working with Bob Proctor. And then I looked and I went, oh my goodness, I'm right in my goal. I'm right where I wanted to be. Everything turned around. Everything turned around. And it's just an absolute blessing that Karen kept on keeping on. And that's what's brought me here today.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Also, when I was starting to research about millionaire habits, so all of them were speaking about doing sports in the morning. And most of you guys know I'm a night owl, and I love to work in the night and to pick on calls in the night, and you wouldn't see me in the morning. Actually, yesterday I went live in the morning, so I was like, oh. But anyways, I was very inspired. And the thing is that for 3 years, I had the intention, or kind of, I said I made a decision, but I really didn't make the decision because I didn't do it. So I kind of had the intention to go and run or do any kind of sports in the morning. I was like, no, I just can't. And then just to telling me all the time myself, I can't. So you know what happens? I can't, right? Until I made a decision. And so the most difficult thing at the time was to put on those shoes and make the first step outside the door. And it was literally, I think the neighbors must have think I was crazy. When I made this step before breakfast in the morning, outside my door, I was like, yay, I did it. I did it even before starting to run, because it was so much more difficult to even get dressed and go outside before having breakfast. And so I was celebrating myself for doing it. And then the running was just, I was really, relaxed on that. So I ran a bit, and I stopped, and I walked, and I said, okay, so I can do it one day, I can do it a week, so let's do it a week. And then I was on in a week, and when I can do it a week, I can do it a month. And when I can do it a month, then actually after 2 months I moved, and because I moved, I was in a new rhythm, a new neighborhood, didn't know where to run, so I stopped. And then it was November and Switzerland and cloudy and rainy and cold. I was like, okay, that was it. And then my then business partner, Judelki, she's a marathon runner. She was saying, Nadine, I promise when you go out and run, it's going to be warm. So make a decision. And I was like, okay. And I did. And I'm so happy, because now I regularly run in the morning, besides if it's raining cats and dogs. But it gives me the energies to work very efficiently, and it's such a difference in life quality to not kind of wake up until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's what kept me going. So whenever I was at my lowest stage, I mean, I learned very early on that when my kids were younger, that the only way for me to leave the house sane was to get up at 5:30 in the morning, because then I would have my time, then I could have the kids' time, and we could all be out without any drama, because I couldn't take it the other way. So, but then whenever you hit your low spot, you have to make the decision every single day to get out of bed regardless, because your why then became my why not, because I was feeling, guilt and shame and all that. But it was just, so anybody out there who feels like that, is you've got to make the decision every single day, get up at the same time, exercise, read, do whatever, and keep the pattern going. Because eventually then it runs itself, and you run yourself out of it, and each step then becomes easier and easier and easier. And that's what I did every morning, Nadine, to get out of bed. I literally get up at 5 o'clock, and I made that, I started doing lives at 5:30 in the morning, because when I started to get the feedback from people going, oh my goodness, you changed my day, then that made me another reason for getting out of bed. So if I lay in bed at 5 o'clock and decided I'm not getting up, and then all I could hear was, oh, right, so your kids aren't important, and maybe that one person who got the message wasn't important. Oh, your dreams aren't important. And I would, oh my goodness, yes, they are. And I would be up.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So yeah, so very often it takes the commitment. It doesn't take any, the first thing people think when they think about, okay, I have to make decisions. So, what are the resources? What is the time? What is the money? What do I have to do? And then it's very easy to talk ourselves out of it. So when we see the reason, and that's why we go into goals always first in thinking it results, right? We have the goal, we have to reason, and always in a moment of doubt or a moment of, okay, let's procrastinate on that. It's like, okay, here's my goal, here's my decision, that's where I'm going.
Oh my goodness, decision is like, you have no idea. I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if people lie in bed in the morning and go, shall I get up? Shall I not? Shall I get up? Shall I not? What they're doing is setting up a pattern. So then, shall I have this for tea? Shall I have that for tea? Shall I go out running? Shall I not? You don't realize that that is the pattern. If we don't catch it in the smallest things, then the big things become a problem, don't they? Because we can't make decisions. We've got to make decisions day in, day out on even the smallest thing. I mean, look how long it took me to make a decision to literally, do thinking into results, when I could have had everything sorted 6 months before. My goodness, I was literally just going, why did I wait so long? And actually, Nadine, I had the same thing with, so 6 months for me was good, because before that, it took me 2 years to leave the National Health Service to join a pharmaceutical company. Now, when I went to the pharmaceutical company, now bear in mind, the National Health Service, not a lot of money, so you just do your job, you get paid what you get paid, and that's it. Within 6 months of being in this pharmaceutical company, we went to Toronto We were up the Cantar. We'd hired the whole Cantar. I was having a chocolate fountain on top. And I was just like, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did it take me 2 years? Oh my goodness. So now I have learned, decide, act, decide, act.
Yes,
You've been asking for something.
In fact, it costs a lot of money, because all the time that you kind of, okay, shall I do this? Shall I do that? As you just said. So that's a lot of time that goes by just like this, unused or actually wasted. So when you can make a decision like this, so you're on focus, you know, if it's online, on target to your goal. So there you go. And it's really easy. It's really simple, not always easy, I guess, but it's really simple to make this decision.
Well, I reckon that me waiting 2 years for the pharmaceutical company, that cost me 60,000, that 2 year wait. The wait of the 6 months for to join Thinking into Results, that cost me 40,000. Easy to calculate what it cost me. And so I could have been having results so much sooner than flipping. It's just, but I guess that's from my hindsight to be able to give that to people. It's just going, you know, why would anybody wait? You've been asking for something. Isn't it amazing that you always get what you ask for? Although people, when it's not so good, they go, well, I didn't ask for that. And I go, really? I think you did, but you didn't know you were. Because inaction is a decision in itself, isn't it? Inaction is saying, I always ask, well, how are you demonstrating your life to the universe? What are you telling the universe? Because this now instructs the next now. So if this now you go, no, I'll wait for 6 months, then 6 months come and you go, oh, I'll wait for 6 months. Oh, I'll wait for 6 months. It has to be now. There is only now. And what
I have someone that might be here on the call, so he knows then who I mean. But so I know he knows, and I know that this is absolutely going to help him. Like that's going to give the focus, the direction, and everything. He also said he made the decision. The thing is that all kinds of things are still coming in, and want to check another program, want to check another option, want to check. So today he actually sent me a link of someone doing it in another language that we both speak. And then I watched it and I said, look, these are the resources I already sent to you. So that's really funny. Like if the decision were already settled and done, you don't have to look right and left. Like, you know that this is going to help. So just focus now on making this possible, right? So when you know what you're heading to, so don't waste your time and your efforts and your energies and your intentions to many other things. Settle one thing and then do the next.
It's just what we put. It's amazing what we put in front of us so we don't make a decision. I mean, I had one person say, well, if I do Thinking into Results, then my partner is going to buy a motorbike. So because I don't want him to have a motorbike, I'm not going to do Thinking into Results. And I just said, did you just hear what you said? So neither of you get what you want. Neither of you get what you want. I mean, how many times was she doing that? She didn't actually hear that she'd done that to herself. And I realized how many things that I'd put in the way. Just let me check, just let me check, just let me check. You've been asking and it's here right in front of you. I have never, ever met another program like this that I knew the information, but I didn't live the information. Everything else is designed, you get more and more knowledge and it just dumps it on top of all the cement. I call it like little cement bags that you've dived in and put on top and top, and then you get slower and slower and slower. You know, in your 20s you thought it would be better in your 30s. In your 30s you thought it would be better in your 40s. Well, when I got to my 40s, oh my goodness, it's not getting any better. I need to do something. Otherwise, when I'm 65 trying to deal with this, I don't want to be dealing with this then. My goodness. Oh my goodness. It's just now is the time. There is no other time. You deal with your past in the present, and you deal with the future in the present. What are you doing in the present? Because that's your demonstration to the universe, isn't it?
Yes. You always just manifest right now what is going to show up in the future.
And what's just think about, I mean, when I think about what it cost me and where I could even be now, but that's you know, by the by now, but I'm able to make that figure. I mean, that would be like £100,000 that I missed out on because of lack of decision-making skills. I'm missing out on nothing now, let me tell you, Nadine.
Yeah.
Is just make a decision and it's right. And one of the things that I was discussing with my clients last night was prosperity belongs to the righteous. And whenever you call what is righteous, it means a no doubt, single focused decision. Go do and make it right. And that's what this program does. It holds you accountable, and accountability is it's like your insurance policy, your success insurance policy, isn't it?
Absolutely. Being held accountable is so valuable, because then okay, I'll check this, I'll do that. And also if you're stuck, which can happen. So just to have someone or a group of people on your side to point you in to the next step or in the right direction, that's so super valuable.
Well, it's like you've got the spotlight, you've got the torch. You go, it's okay, I'm coming back in again for you. I've already led all these other people out, and I had to lead myself out, and so now I'm coming back for you. And because you know all the pitfalls, all the loopholes, all the things that you got, and you're able to. That's how I describe it. It's just like we're able to go, I've been here, I know what you're going through. So every lesson, it's so funny whenever people go, oh, this is what's happening. I'm going, that's brilliant. I know now you're doing the work properly. And they go, what? I thought this was bad. No, this is brilliant. But you see, that's what held us all back before, because you didn't understand. Every time you hit that wall and you would contract, and you didn't realize you're doing it. So that's why you're not going anywhere, because you're like, expand, contract, basically just holding yourself in place. I mean, what is doubt? Doubt is yes, no, yes, no, yes,
maybe
no.
Yes, there is doubt is a really good thing to talk about, because there is a lot of people that actually, when I ask what are the challenges, so self-doubt is one of them. And also there, when you really made a decision, so doubt doesn't have place there, because when you start to doubt yourself or the decision, so you're not really firm on it. And to recommit to yourself and to make the decision anew, then like energetically, it doesn't leave room for anything else. And the more you are in those energy of, I made the decision, that's where I'm heading. So that's where you necessarily need to go, because that's how the universal laws will take you there. Where energy where energy goes, no, where focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah,
so
I did that as well. which
happens also to me.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But Nadine, I find that people don't know themselves, and that's exactly what it is with myself. And I took my clients through a money EQ, night last night, and that's what it was. It was just really understanding who you are, and when you know who you are, then that's whenever there can be no doubt. There can be no doubt. We're so busy looking to other people's opinion. Oh, let me ask my friend. Well, where's your friend going? And where have they been? I mean, opinions are cheap, and they're just opinions, aren't they? And based on somebody else's programming, somebody's decoding. When you know yourself and oh my goodness, that confidence that comes from within inside, it's just like going, well, it's right for me. It really doesn't matter if you don't see that. Because I don't need to ask anybody's opinion anymore, because I know myself.
Yes, so in the series 10 Days to Success that are also pinned to the units here, day 10 speaks exactly about that. So that's also written down in Think and Grow Rich, exactly that leadership or decision is when you know what you want and you do what you want to do. In the best possible way, and that you don't let others be in your doubt, because you know the way. You always know from within, when you feel that excitement, when you know it feels good, so you know it is good. That is your subconscious speaking to you. That's your intuition guiding you. You can feel it's God or angels or spirit or just physically the intuition, whatever it is, but this is the meter, like this is the compass, your inner compass. You will feel when this is for you, when it does feel aligned. And then hear others, we hear our upbringing, society says, others think. So that is what has initially build our blockages. So away with them. Let's break
Away
through.
with them, I know. And so one of the things, the key things you mentioned there about leadership, you know, I have some people who say, you know, well, I don't want to be a leader. And I went, well, there you go then. Don't you see the problem? And they go, well, what? And I went, well, who's leading your body?
Yeah.
You know, is money leading you? You can't serve two masters. So if you're letting the outside world lead you, but even your body's leading you, your emotions are all, we literally go bottom up instead of top down. So we're in the physical world and we see something, then we literally get an emotional reaction to it. So then our thoughts go all funny around this emotional action, and then we go up here and go pray to God and ask for somebody to help. And I say, so you're going that way around. How's that working out for you? Isn't that exhausting? Yes. Well, here's the right way. It's like understanding who you truly are, your life itself.
Yes.
And then when you can realize that, do you know what, Nadine? I realized that there's only one paradigm to get rid of, one paradigm to change. And that's to know who you truly are.
Yes. Yes.
And when you do that, then you can choose the thought that you focus on. Then that thought will manage your emotions, which will then manage your physical world. But if you don't know how to train yourself to do that, well, good luck. I heard one of the things that somebody had said about, you know, what it was costing you and what are the odds. You don't know what, you know, need to know whether it's right or wrong, but what are the odds of you getting what you want based on what you've already done? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what is it? You know, and like I asked this question of a girl last night and she says probably about 3 or 4 of getting my dream. And I'm like, great. So that's like a 60% chance that you're not going to get it. Okay, well, what are the odds of working with the world leader in human potential and someone who's been coached by him, of you reaching your goal? And she says, oh my goodness, like about an 8 or 9. Great. So that's only like a 20% failure. Which one would you bet on?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, righty. So you carry on doing what you're doing. Why?
Yeah. Yes, that's such a good way to put it. Absolutely.
Because there's always a chance. I mean, people say like, oh, so there's a 20% chance of failure, you know, or a risk. And I went, well, you get in the car and you risk. Yes. Every time you get in the car, there's always a risk. But here's the thing, when you've got Nadine there, you know, being an accountability partner and watching you and being able to guide you through, my goodness, nobody's failing on my watch and nobody's failing on Nadine's watch, let me tell you.
And there is also two options when you fail. You can either go and cry and bash yourself, or you can learn from failure. And there again, to have someone on your side to help you get up and refocus, that's so super valuable.
Yeah, I heard it in the gym this morning. The guy said, because I was on the monkey bars, and I can't, oh my goodness, the monkey bars. I'm just like, are you kidding me? It's freezing. It's 2 degrees. I've got no gloves, and you want me to hang on the monkey bars? Okay, I'll hang on the monkey bars. And then I fell down, and he just said, he goes, well, you see, when you fall down, you just get back up, don't you? And I thought, oh, that's really good. Well, I was so afraid of falling, but when I did fall, and then I just got back up, and he goes, well, that's what you do. You just get back up. Funny that's life.
Exactly. That we can learn that from toddlers, right? They don't know how to walk, so they will get up and fall, and they will get up and fall. Will they, will they give up? No, they also want to walk. So they will fall and fall again and have fun with it, you know, even so, oh, I fell, haha, funny. And people are also clapping, hey, you're getting up. So how if it was really playful, because we put so much pressure on ourselves that everything has to be a success. And what would people say if I fail? So I failed. And today I base my business on that because I learned and I failed many times. And if Edison wouldn't have failed so much, we wouldn't have a light bulb, right?
Well, this is it. I was watching so Brené Brown on Netflix, and it's called Call to Courage. And she talks about, you know, the people who are sitting in the seats and the people who are in the arena. She goes, the people who are sitting in the seats, giving their opinion. She says, you're like, what? Why would you even listen to that? They're not, you only take talk to people who are in the arena with you, doing this journey with you. That's the people that you want to be listening to, not the people who are sitting there and who've never got out of their seat. So it's quite interesting, isn't it? Just you can see the two things going, yeah, why would you listen to anybody who's sitting hiding behind a screen?
That's right. Also, many were asking about procrastination. What would you help people?
Well, that's all based on fear, isn't it? And then when you really understand fear, so we go through this in lesson 7, but really you're dealing with it the whole way through. And the way I deal with, I mean, fear is just like, it's the law of polarity. I mean, we literally can't have up without down, in without out. And so what I say to people is just like, why do we think it just is what it is? But it's our perception of what it is that it's bad. But listen, your life itself, and life is always for fuller expansion and growth. So how can anything be bad? It's your perception of it. You go, yeah, but Sheena, this happened and this happened. Okay, what is it that's feeling in your inside you? So I do that trick about literally stopping, acknowledging it, because that's what we do, Nadine. We stuff it down, we stuff it down, we stuff it down. We deny it, deny it, deny it. And I spent my life doing that. Well, guess what happens? It comes up and bites you on the bum at some stage, which is what mine did. And what I learned to do was acknowledge the fear and go, I literally would get out of the thought and drop into my body and look at my body and go, oh, right, go on, be more afraid. Go on, be more afraid. And it like disperses in about 30 seconds and you go, oh, is that it? I do it with doubt as well. Any emotion that I'm feeling awkward at, I acknowledge it. And then I look at it and I go, well, go on, be more anxious. Go on, I dare you. And you find that yourself. So what I'm doing is actually a lot. It's like the 2-year-old child that's not been paid attention to and she just wants some love. And it sounds funny to people who've never tried this, but my goodness, when you practice this over and over and over again. But this is what literally lesson 7 teaches you, is that fear is nothing to be afraid of. It's actually fear of fear itself. Fear is our impulse to do something different. Otherwise, imagine if we were all just, we didn't have any fear, no change, and it was all like la-di-da-di-da. It's all just wonderful. Nobody would do anything.
Yeah.
The only time you do something is because you get a kick up the backside. And it's like, you know, the only reason that you know what you want is because you've experienced what you don't want. But what are we focusing on? We tend to focus on what we don't want. Well, stop doing it. Focus on what you want.
That's so
and I know that you're going to help people, you know, literally get over that. I mean, because that is what goes. You really understand that.
Yeah. The second part of it is comfort zone, because even before, when you made a decision, so the first thing is like, oh, oops, that's outside my comfort zone, so I'll just jump back or fall back. And that's also where procrastination comes in, when you actually, you know, do all kinds of other so-called important or less important things in order to put off the decision, or in order to put off the execution of the decision. So once you know, again, when you made a decision and you put energies to it, or you have yourself committed to your own goal, so procrastination is not an option.
Oh no, that's it. I'm going to say something. It's got out of my head. That's right. Your comfort zone actually isn't comfortable. That's why you're here watching this. So if you're making that as an excuse, because some people just go, oh, well, that's an excuse, it feels uncomfortable. If you're working on logic, logic is your left brain. Your left brain only knows what's happened before. So you're working on things in the past. Now, if you want your past in the future, crack on with whatever you're doing. But if you don't want that, I mean, that's what people would say to me, like, get real, Sheena. And I'm going, well, I don't like this reality. So this reality is my evidence of my past thinking. Therefore, I don't think I'm going to get real. I'm going to create something new. So, which means you've got to do the illogical. Yeah. You've just got to do the illogical. Your comfort zone isn't comfortable. Procrastination isn't comfortable. It's not even nice. It's making you feel frustrated. So just go throw your energy. Energy has to go somewhere, doesn't it? Nadine, my story of like where I really learned that when I was 24, and I had a marriage breakup. And of course, I was so angry being the first person in the whole Catholic family to be divorced. Whoopie-doo, really good. But I was so angry that I'd been lied to. That's what it felt like. And I just like 3 months later, I thought I can't handle this because I couldn't get rid of the energy. So what I did was I pointed it to a degree. And I got a degree in computer science. The only girl at that time to get the degree in the computer science in programming. Nice. Because I took the energy and I pushed it into something amazing. So if anybody's sitting going, I wish you could do this, I wish you could have that, you got to just take the leap and point your energy towards. And I can't think of anything better than actually studying yourself. Not another qualification to get a piece of paper, because like I did my, you know, you do your master's and there's another £10,000 Like seriously, you have a piece of paper and a £10,000 debt, and you've got to start again. Whereas, you know, doing something like this, I don't want to give people a piece of paper. I want them to have results.
That's right.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's not about doing a program. It's about getting results. Finally.
Yes, the results that you want in your life, like the dreams, because we tend to think that dreams are something that isn't going to come true. That's something of the fairy tales. So when you just realize that it actually can become true, and I mean, the amazing story of Ali, and that's also about women in tech. So Ali just joined TIR in July, like in July. She was unemployed at the time, or just being interviewed for the job that she afterwards got to, but she made a decision when she was unemployed. She said, it doesn't have money coming in, like this is a leap of faith, this is crazy, but she knew that she had some dreams, and so she had a new YouTube channel going on. And so today, not only has she already achieved one of her C-types goal, which is becoming a senior Java developer, but also has she been nominated to global awards of women in tech. I mean, that's something local, that's something small, but global awards. So how cool is that? And that is because she made a decision that she's going to it. I mean, she started her YouTube channel with, you know, nothing at the beginning. You don't have, so you have a dozen people, then you have, so it's now already grown to several hundreds. And so there, her goal is to go to 2 million women in tech. So let's go there.
I give up the computer science. I was just like, no, I don't even want to do this. It was that energy that drove me into doing that. It's nice to have, but yeah, she can have it all she wants. I'd rather just do this stuff.
That's true. But so also it was her to realize that seeing herself. So at the beginning, it was very like, can I ask my team this? Can I ask my boss that? And I was like, what would a senior Java developer say? What would a senior Java developer do? And so thinking herself into herself with the goal achieved. So that gives a different energy as well. That is just a so complete different perspective of look at things, and therefore you create different results. And here you go, nominated for the Global Awards Leaders. And those of you in the group that are listening, there is a post about this here. So let's support each other and let's help her to achieve that goal.
Yes, awesome. I mean, it's not just results like that, you know, work-wise. I think one of the things that I find listening to people, especially today, is that peace of mind that, you know, that is missing. And that's one of the things that I always say is about peace before prosperity. So I even had a girl who literally wanted to have a baby and had tried IVF. And I just said to her, please don't do IVF. I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but please don't try to do IVF. And she was literally 2 weeks into this program and she got pregnant.
Oh, really?
And I mean, but she didn't tell us until she was 24 weeks. But there you go, is where the initial shift of what she had actually started to become aware of, what was holding her down and was completely out of alignment inside, was just literally she was able, because she had all the work. So for anybody who's out there who's read the books, who knows the stuff, it's like you're there, and then you just want the steps to piece it together. And as you're on this journey, magic just happens because you're shifting things. And it just, I just love stories like that. So you can have as much of, you know, business success, or it can be something very personal, or it can just be peace of mind, or even a good night's sleep, Nadine, like one of my clients, a good night's sleep, finally.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I had another conversation with another person. So her main thing was depression when she came in. And so we had a chat about how depression is actually the repression of feelings, and by impressing new beliefs, so things can change. And then her second thing was weight loss, like big time weight loss. And then I said, let's focus first on letting go of or releasing those feelings or traumata that have caused her to repress those feelings that brought her into depression in the first place. And by letting go, so the process of letting go also then let her body go of the extra protection that it built up. And she didn't diet, she didn't, sport. She did, like, but not like something out of extraordinary. So she did twice a week. She went to the gym and did some walking every day. But that was her plan before, and she said it doesn't work. So once we started to tackle the thing about let go of those negative feelings and beliefs and let's replace them by better ones, so her body was able to let go of the overweight. And so
it sounds so simple, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds so simple, but we actually know is that those paradigms, I call them those pesky paradigms, and Mr. and Mrs. Paradigm, they come along and they just like to hold on to you. I say it's like, like being like the paradigm is like a tree trunk and you don't even know it's there and you're attached to it by a bungee rope. Yes. And it lets you go so far and it lets you go so far. But then you start to it's because the bungee rope is getting tighter and tighter and it's like harder work and harder work and harder work. But then sometimes for me, I just like sprang back because I hadn't actually moved what was going on inside me. And that's what this does when it allows you to literally cut the bungee rope, bye-bye, like old paradigms, like bye-bye that programming. Then that's whenever you can say these things about like, it's just a matter of, replacing one belief with another, because then, yes, you can. But while you've got your paradigm holding on to, you're just going, what? So like I've got quite a few new clients now and they're just going, but it can't be that easy. And I went, I know the journey you're on. Yes. Believe me, but you've got to when you do this work, then you'll understand. You go, oh my goodness, it is easy. But right now it's difficult to see it, but literally you will see the light. It's like taking the matrix pill. You can't go back, can you?
Yes, that's true. That's so true. And Bob is also always saying that within 6 months you need to have a magnifier glass to look back. You won't recognize yourself. And I don't have any client that really can, that everyone can really testify on that.
Oh,
it's
100%.
So amazing.
I ask everybody that, and I also ask them at the end of 6 months because, I just go, do you need, because I say to them before this program, you will not need another program. You might want more, but you will not need one. The search is over. It's no longer a secret what you need to do. And then I say to them at the end of 6 months, do you need another program? And they go, oh my goodness, no. They just laugh. They go, if I knew every word in this book, yes. Look at mine, it's looking a bit tired now, isn't it? If I knew everything that went on in that book, then, I would be, so I know exactly what lesson to go back to help myself now. Like I say, I didn't want them to depend on me. I said, I want you to be free from me, that we're here together actually helping each other grow, that you're not asking me questions anymore because you don't know the answer. Because what are we like, Nadine, whenever we're with Bob? We have to figure out a question that trips Bob up that he has to answer. But as soon as we try to ask a question, we know the answer now, don't we?
Yes.
And we're always trying to come up with a question that goes, oh, you'll not know that. But as soon as you ask it, you go, oh, heck, I know the answer to that. What's the point in asking the question? Well, my clients are like that now with me. They'll ask me a question, and as soon as they do, they go, I know the answer. And I go, yeah, you do.
Yes, it's also, I love to refer to all the lessons to a toolbox. So lesson number 1 is the anchor, the goal. So you set the goal, that's the anchor. And then
so is the decision. The decision article is the anchor as well. I mean, oh my goodness, it is such a key, such a key lesson.
That's right. So the decision article is in lesson 1. So it so much goes together. And once you made a decision, you know your goal, so you're anchored, and then you have all those tools and like, oh, now I'm going to play with my perception factors. Now I'm going to, okay, what would the leader in me say? Okay, now I'm doing, so all those things. First, we consciously train them, but the more you do it, it just becomes part of us. And we already know to subconsciously just, so that's when we know hey, I've succeeded to reprogram my thinking into a successful thinking. And sometimes I even,
No, the trick to staying in charge no matter what. I mean, that's what this program will give you as well, isn't it? I mean, that's what's absolutely awesome, is that, you know, no matter what's going on. It doesn't matter if, I mean, I even put it down to like even death as well, because I've experienced that, you know, on this journey. And what I experienced was to be able to observe myself rather than be in and getting lost in the emotions, was to actually sit back and be the observer and just still be. I'm not saying that I still allowed my body to do the grieving that it needed to do, but I knew that I was in control. Which, what I mean about that is that your mind is still awake and not caught up in emotions and getting lost in everything, so you can't even make a decision. You know, somebody needs to be out there. Somebody needs to be keeping a clear mind and a clear focus so that you can organize everything around you. And that's what I experienced. So, you know, people can talk about whatever's going on in the outside world now. But what you're looking at is that when you have a clear mind, you can start to become more creative. That's what everything asks us to do. Anything outside that we don't like, that changes direction, it means it's asking you to be more creative. It's not asking you to go and just shrink back in. It's asking you to go through that wall and let's see what it's your right brain that's the creative side. Allow it to breathe, slow down, breathe, and just let your right brain just be more creative. And that's what you're being asked for.
Yes, so that's also a funny story that we were asked, how come that if we teach the same thing, that we're not competitors, but actually work together? So the answer to this is also to just create, because 1 and 1 is much more than 2. And whatever, like also with my interviews with other coaches from different spaces and niches, it's not that we fight here for clients or for attention. It's the opposite, but to have more views and more opinions and more help for us. So that's just enrichment of everything. So whenever you have a question of, okay, so this is how far I can go alone, and now let's bring in others and get their creativity. How can I get more ideas and more not opinions that hold you back, just ideas that you can decide. Here is the decision again. What do you let in and what not? So that's a way I love to create in a mastermind with others. And
that's it. We can only attract our tribe. We can only attract our tribe. I mean, I always remember that from my medical repping days, was that people would be like, they'd not give information away and they'd not tell you this. And I'm like, listen, there's a piece of pie for everybody. Everybody's just like, just have a bit of fun here. That's what we're doing on here. We're having fun. We're being creative. We're saying, oh, what does this like? This feels good. Let's have a go at this. And actually then you attract, rather than we're not here to get anything. That's the biggest key, isn't it? To stop thinking that you have to get something. Then you're in competition mode. When you're creating and having fun and coming from the pure joy of things, then you'll attract who you're going to attract. Nadine will attract who Nadine attracts. I'll attract who I'll attract. And it doesn't really matter. And if we try to take something from somebody else, my goodness, I know karma comes and would bite me on the bum anyway. So
that's true.
And you just sort of go, no, I'm not even doing it to myself, because that's what it is. You're just doing it to yourself anyway.
Yeah. So therefore, always when there is a question, how can I do something? So always think in terms of creation. So what can I do? What can I create? Today, I also had with one of the people here in the group a nice conversation about how money is made, right? And it's earned by creating. So we had the law of compensation when so we have the 3 pillars there. It goes by, is there a demand for what you're offering, your ability to do it, and how difficult are you to replace? And so there, with any offering, you can test it on this. So if you're client free, and that was also a thing of many people that have businesses that came to this group, if you're looking for clients, if you're looking for customers, and you do what other people tell you to do, what you see the industry people are doing, so you're not yourself. So just go inside and see, okay, what do I want to do? And so many suffer from imposter syndrome, but I cannot, take ideas from others. No, really, you are so unique and so loved in this world. There is in the 8 billion people on this earth, there is just one person exactly like you, exactly with this hair, exactly with those eyes, exactly with those thoughts, exactly with this knowledge. Like there is no person exactly like you. So the only thing you can do is go and create something that you're really passionate about, because passions are also so individual. And that's how I also love to learn with those people that inspire me, that have a passion for something, not like the boring, okay, let's do a program.
Well, people are trying to be somebody else, aren't they? That's why they don't have the confidence in the first place. And what's the easiest thing to do actually is show up as yourself and actually just be raw and vulnerable as you. And people like you or they don't. Like that's the thing. So, oh, I'm afraid. So you try to have people like you. Well, that never works, because you can feel that energy. But when you just show up as yourself, raw, honest. I mean, I've just made such an idiot out of myself sometimes with this board, because I draw on it and then it falls over. But sure, what does it matter? You know, I'm loving drawing on my board. It feels like it's taken me back to my childhood. And I did have somebody say that to me one time, going, Sheena, I mean, he turned up to a call in his bed, but that's a whole other story. And I laughed. And he says, Sheena, you're being like a little child. And I went, yeah, that's on my life script. I want to, it says in the Bible, it goes, be ye like children to get into the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is here now. It's not somewhere else. You make heaven and hell in this life right now. And by being like a child, what is a child? They use their imagination, they have fun. Did we forget something along the way? Did we?
Exactly. And then we have people telling children how to be, like how to behave, like the opposite. Maybe children should start teaching us how to behave.
Well, I do believe that they came here to teach us. I think that we're here to guide them in the world, to keep, you know, how to show them to be safe. I don't mean that you have to scream and shout at them to be safe, but it's pretty, you know, you can guide them in a way that's not critical. But actually, they have so much more to teach us. Oh my goodness. And if we just look at our, you know, I've got a grandchild. She's a year and a half, and I am just mesmerized by her. And I'm like, I'm going to be like that. Like when you're talking about, you know, how a child, you know, gets up and walks, I watched her. She crawled over to the radiator and touched it. So then she's moved back from the radiator. She stood up a little bit and walked a little bit to it, fell, got up, touched the radiator and walked back again. Then she pushed herself a little bit further back and she tried it again. Right. And she kept doing it. And then she would go further back again. The look of determination on that little girl's face, I went, well, wowee. That and we have to learn from that.
Exactly. So there is also differences. So my oldest son and my youngest daughter, so she's very careful. And my son is like, he doesn't mind if he gets hurt and he falls down. He will just try anything and laugh and have fun. And the youngest one is like careful getting up, and she wouldn't kind of taking the first step until she feels certain she can actually do it. So that is also so interesting to see how character is formed already in this very early time, and how different people approach things. However, both of them had the goal of starting to walk, learning to walk. So it doesn't matter the way, it doesn't matter the how, it's the what, right? So you know what is the goal, and in your own very unique way, get up and walk.
And that's the thing, but people are looking for, so I know in one of the articles we have the common success denominator, and what people do is that they are you choosing pleasing methods? You know, that you're looking for a pleasing way to do something, well, then you have to accept the result that you get. And you are doing that. People are just accepting the result because they would rather choose a pleasing method. Oh, I don't like to do that. Oh, I don't like to do that. Well, that's the thing. You have to then accept whatever result you get. So the people who are successful keep their mind on the end goal, and they will do whatever it takes. Now, that's the thing, is about to do whatever it takes, because you have set yourself a worthy ideal. That love nor money or anything else is going to stop you from getting there. And what we do, though, when the pleasing methods is we make our why or why not. So we say we want to do this for the children. Oh, but the children have got a party, so I need to do this and I need to do that. And we don't do it because we make our why or why not.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who goes, I'm doing this and we're getting there? End of story.
That's right.
Or are you the person who's like maybe...
And necessarily, in order to reach the next level, you must leave the current level. And it does take like, it's like the process of birth. It does take a process, and giving birth isn't fun, but it's totally worth it. So there are birth pain, and there is the whole, you know, the growing phase and everything, but then you have to let go and just do it, right?
Yes, you do
So
have
there
to
is a
let go.
certain point that you cannot keep it in yourself. You just have to take the next step, and there you're on your next level. And yes, some people will not follow, but new people will come in. Some circumstances, you leave them behind, and there is new things coming up. And so that is the process of growth, and it's so beautiful.
Well, just when you're saying that about, you know, like, you know, leaving the level, what I really realized about all the learning that I'd done. So we all know about, we've discussed, like, you know, maybe the law of vibration. And so there's different, we're tuning into different levels. And here's maybe your results here, but your goal is up here. Well, what I had realized, would you believe, Nadine, with all the studying that I had done, because I thought I knew it all, and I thought that people needed fixing and that I knew better. So I had so much knowledge, but what I realized was, there's a law of polarity. There's a plus here and there's a negative here. All I had done was move over to the plus side and the positivity side. I was still on the same wavelength as the people that I thought needed to be fixing. It wasn't them needing to be fixing. It was me needing to look at me and realize that there was no fixing to be done. When I realized that about with Bob Proctor's work, and that was about 3 months in, that I went, oh, I haven't grown in 10 years. All my personal development, all my study, I actually hadn't grown. I hadn't left my level. I'd just become more positive on the law of polarity.
Yes.
That's so if anybody's watching this now and you have studied and studied and studied, and you think people need fixing, and you think that you know it all, you haven't moved. You haven't moved. Yes. That was my, yeah, I got it.
That's a very nice way to put it. That's right. Yeah, because to have also the different, we actually had a look in our last call on the ladder of emotions, because you can check like how intense are your emotions, and on what level, and then to actually climb it is a different kind of process. And you can talk your way through or feel your way through, but it's really a process that you have to walk, and that's really walk the walk, right? Not only talk the talk.
Oh, it's one thing knowing the path, and it's another thing walking the path. Let me tell you, I knew the path. I knew the path back and forward for everybody else, apparently, but I was not walking it. And the only way that you know that is because you look at your results and you just go, is this where I thought I was going to be? Nope. Oops.
Yeah. That's why so many coaches also are coaches, and they do a great job for others, but also want to have coaching for themselves, which is also a very good thing, because knowing to be open and coachable is also the only way that you can grow, that you actually receive knowledge from someone who is at the place already where you want to be. So that's why that's why I study with Bob.
Yes. If we think that Bob is saying the same thing, so when people maybe listen to the paradigm shift and go, well, he's just saying the same thing, because I would have been like that as well. It's just going, if you hear the same thing, you haven't grown. Because Bob has grown. He's actually saying it from a different vibration, from a different level, from a different mindset. And if you still hear the same thing, it's you that stays still, because we hear something different. I can never wait to go back to lesson 1.
Yeah.
And start again, because I know, oh my goodness, 12 weeks ago, where was I? Wow, look how much I've grown. My goodness, it's just incredible.
And it's very interesting. So at the beginning, I was like, why is he telling me to watch the video over and over and over and over and over and over? I mean, I get it. So, and then that was really funny. So that was my kind of mindset when I started. And then when I started to be with my own clients and I went back to the material, it's like, oh, yes. So it's really so different to take myself into in my own different perspectives, and that's so valuable to when you know the truth, or the basic principles of what lead me to my truth, so you just grow from there to always look at it again and again.
That's what it is. It's your truth. That was a key word there. I mean, your truth. I mean, that's what some people say. Is this like a cult? Is this like this? Am I going to teach? And I go, no, that's what's brilliant about this. This is your truth that you find. your truth. And I know one girl suddenly went, oh my goodness, the buck stops here. Nobody's coming to help me. This is me now, no more excuses. She says it was frightening and exciting at the same time. It doesn't give you, you have no more excuses. You cannot open your mouth and give an excuse, can you, Nadine? Just like, you know, as soon as you're doing it, you're going, oh, okay, yes, it's all up to me. And that's what this shows you how to do it.
Yes.
Just how to do it.
I actually got very, I don't know to say radical, but I would stop people in the middle of their sentences and say, look, this is too much negative chatter. So let's just focus on what works. Or let's just not give energy to this. And people like it to be, it's very rude, especially in Switzerland. I don't know if you can do this in the UK.
But that's what Bob does to us.
Huh?
Yeah, yes. That's what Bob does to us, doesn't he? He just goes, just stop there. I mean, it's an interesting story, but what do you want?
Yes,
because
yes.
Abraham Hicks says, doesn't she? She goes 17 seconds. And you just literally, you're just like, oh, let's do the law of attraction with what you've just been talking about. So when somebody said to me that they wanted to be, they wanted to go to see a clairvoyant. And I said, well, now what do you want to go and see a clairvoyant for? Well, so she can help me with my future in this relationship. And I said, I'll tell you what your relationship and your future is going to be. She goes, oh, how do you know? And I go, well, what you've been talking about for the last half hour.
Yeah. Yes.
Because it was all negative talk. And I said, how are you going to create positive whenever you're talking negative? It's just, but it's, if people want to stay there, some people love their stories, Nadine, don't they? Yes. They love their stories. Who would they be?
That is also painful to let go of those stories, because that's really getting rid of the excuses. And then you're kind of naked there. Oh, yes. No more excuses. Oh, what now? So I guess I will take the leap forward, because there is no stepping back now that I know. So yes, that's it.
And that's why if somebody hasn't made a decision, a committed decision, Nadine, is that they want to ask themselves, is that I actually like my story too much? And for them to realize that that's what's holding them in place. And do they really want to get rid of their story? Do they really want to change? Because if they did, they would jump into this material. End of story. You know, they want to, but it's scary to be just exactly what you did then. You know, scary to be, oh my goodness, I'm naked. You know, I have to create a new story. You cannot put new wine in old bottles. You've got to have a new bottle. And so if somebody's not making the decision, let me tell you, you're liking your story too much.
That's right. Actually, I had one of the success calls I took was a woman, and she said, okay, so I earn this, my husband earns this, and there is nothing left at the end of the month, and we don't have money to invest, and we don't have but I want a bigger house. And so I was trying to ask questions just to open up this very strict, okay, this is what I earn, this is, and we don't have anything else. So I asked, so for example, what do you spend? So one of the things she wanted to have dinner with her husband on a regular basis. So I said, okay, so in your place, how much would a dinner cost? And then, you know, it was a couple of, you know, dozens of euro. And then, so you know, you can't tell me that you cannot make a decision to afford a dinner with your husband, right? And so, yeah, but the electricity is, so there is process of thinking through. So yes, the electricity you have to pay, and the rent and everything, but above that you have room to play, and you can play both with what you have and also to be open to bring more things inside, right? And so I was giving ideas, and it's always like, no but, so never mind what the no but was. So if you're not open to try to be playful, to let in things, so that is what you tell universe. So you want to know but, you get to know but, here you go.
Yes, exactly. No but, okay, well that's why it stopped. You know, so it's like, how long have people been wanting what they want? That's the thing.
Yeah.
How long is that? I had one guy for 20 years, would you believe, been through corporate, didn't know how to get out of it. 20 years he wanted to be flying around the world, doing his own international business. And within 6 months, actually it was 7 months of doing this work, that's what happened. He is now flying around the world, running his own international business. And he's like, Sheena, 20 years I wanted to do that and I didn't have the courage. And this program gave me the courage to do that. And it's just,
It's just the courage.
What are you waiting for? My goodness.
Yes.
And what's brilliant about this is a program for life. If you don't keep up with the basics, so like I remember one time seeing an Olympic skier and she was practicing stuff like snow plowing and this, that, and the other. And I go, why is she doing that? And she said, well, if I don't practice the basics, what am I building on? The basics have to be 100% solid.
Yes.
And if they're not, then I'm building on not a very solid platform. And there was like such a key message in there, because that's what TIR is. It is giving you the basics, and the seeds that are planted, they're such powerful, powerful seeds. And that's the thing, is that if you don't have this covered, you're always going to be adding in new information. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? There's no doubt. So prosperity, belongs to the righteous. When you do this program, you become right, because you know what to do. You just know.
And the thing is also, no one can tell you what is right, but you have to discover it. And so this is a journey inside. This is a journey to really be honest. And let's talk tachlis with your own thoughts, and let's sort it out. What thoughts are serving you? What thoughts aren't serving you? Let's cut them out. Let's focus on the thoughts that are serving you, and let's go through the process and create those results. Full stop. That's it.
Full stop. That's it.
Yes. That's the process. That's
yeah.
That's beautiful. So
that's what I would say. I just go end of.
It is. There is nothing else after this program. You don't need any other program. As you said, you can play with it, have fun, get more notifications. There are further things, like once you get into the laws of the universe and you start to play with that, I think there is a hunger for more. But again, get the basics first, and from there you fly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. So Sheena, thank you so much for being here this whole week and on the masterclass and on this interview. I really appreciate, and I know that you've been in contact with a lot of people here. So thank you so much. And for everyone watching, make your decisions. You have only now, and now is always a good time. So focus on what do you want, and let's make a plan. The links are in the comments, or just write me a PM and we can have a call and chat about your goals, and let's make sure that they become true.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.